everyone, it is nostalgia time. Once again, we're back with the Dell Vostro 1540. Now, if you may remember from episode 10, we upgraded this computer from its factory install of Windows 7 to Windows 10 22H2. Upon completion of the upgrade, I had discovered that the recovery partition was so messed up that I couldn't even create recovery disks or flash drive from the OS. Now in episode 7, I have created recovery media for this in the form of a flash drive, which I overwrote soon after. Now, I actually want to try again and create recovery disks. But how are we going to do that? Here I have a copy of Acronis True Image 2014 that I burned onto a disk, and I'm going to be backing up this entire drive to a flash drive, and I'm going to actually put this into a virtual machine, because if you may remember from the Dell mini series that we did, I had found out that if there was already a recovery partition on the hard drive, that I could boot directly to it from the disk. Now, I actually would like to see if that's possible, so I could use that to recover the system and maybe potentially restore the recovery partition. But we're going to see if that's going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Acronis. And if there isn't much battery power on it, I might as well plug it in, because it's going to need a lot of power anyway to do this. All right. And now the boot key is F12 on these Dells. And we're going to boot from the CD. So starting Acronis. And we are going to boot onto the disk. So now I've connected my external hard drive to the machine. I'm just going to give it a moment for Acronis to detect. So what we're going to do is we're going to back up the disk. So here we go. You can see we're going to back up the entirety of disk 2. You can see the C drive with Windows 10, the recovery partition, which has not been touched, and the unlabeled. We're going to back the whole partition up. So this will back up 74 gigabytes. Is this thing a 100 gigabyte model or is this 80? We'll find out. So we're going to create a new backup archive. And it has detected my drive. And we are going to name it Dell. Oh, not E. File name. That would only create a folder. But I'm actually going to create a... Oh, can I do it from here? I can. I'll call this Dell Vostro 1540. Okay? And we will name it like so. Alright, we'll press OK. Please type the file name. So... is it not allowed to have numbers? Okay, there we go. So here on Acronis, it's supposed to have the full path, not just the file name. It's supposed to have the entire path. So I'll reformat this to 1540, and we'll press OK. Let's check and make sure that that is correct. And we'll press next. And this is a summary of what's going to happen. So it's going to back up the entire disk. So we'll press proceed. And there we go. You can see it's going to add some additional stuff to it. So yeah, this is going to take quite a while. So I guess we will come back when this is done. So about 3-4 hours later, the backup operation is done. So I'll go ahead and disconnect the flash drive. and eject the disk. There we go. And now I will transfer both over to my host machine, which has the virtual machine on it. So I'll put in the Acronis disk and go ahead and boot it up. And I'll go ahead and take the external hard drive and I'll plug it in here into the other port. And let me connect it to the virtual machine. So here we go again, Acronis 2014. And now we'll switch over to the computer and do the rest of the work. So here we are now inside of a Windows 7 64-bit virtual machine. And we are here to restore the disk. So that's what we are going to do. So we're going to once again go to the Browse menu. So here is the recovery image. We are going to copy partitions without any changes whatsoever. And then we will be brought to the summary screen of all the actions that we will be taking. And now the last step. Review and make sure everything's all set. And we will proceed. And then the process will start. Now we'll see how long this will take, considering that this is a massive size and also that this is a virtual machine. So let's see how long it'll take to complete. Alright, so as I'm getting the virtual machine ready still, I've decided to burn a Inspiron 1440 recovery disk, this is specifically the first disk, onto a rewritable CD, and I would like to see if it would actually still detect the recovery partition even after the restore. But good thing I backed up the original image so that way I can restore it when we are done. So, here we go again. We're going to turn the machine on and press F12 for the boot menu. And we want the CD drive. And this should be Windows 7. And there we go. Windows is loading. Yeah, it cannot be safely restored without the power. Let me plug it in. Which one's the plug? No, this is to the HP. That's right, let's plug it in. Alright, so then we'll click OK. And it looks like it has not detected the... Well, let's see what happens here. So it looks like no, it has not detected the recovery partition. So that is a shame. So, yeah, so I'll just wait for the virtual machine to finish and then we'll try it there. I've decided to return to the HP Pavilion P2. It's not really a pavilion, but whatever. So anyway, I've also been thinking about doing the recovery disks on here, and that's exactly what we are going to do. So first we got to find the recovery media creation, and we're going to do it in the form of CDs and DVDs. So we're going to go ahead and put in the first disk. Yeah, I don't like how HP designed this disk drive. But anyway, we're going to open up the recovery media creation tool. And we will click yes. Turn on virus and threat protection. Yeah, because this thing is so outdated. It doesn't even have the proper display drivers anymore. of course it says the license has expired. And we're not even moving to their free program either, because it doesn't exist here in the US anymore. So anyway, we're going to create recovery media with blank DVDs. And it says insert a blank DVD-R or DVD-R recorded disc. It needs 4. I have already put in the first disc, so then we'll click next. You inserted DVD plus R, so we'll need 4 discs. So we'll click next. Alright, and now the recovery procedure begins. Well, not really a recovery procedure, but rather the burning procedure. So let me grab a different case. Now we repeat with the other discs. So we'll go ahead and insert disc 2. It says please remove the disc, which I just did, and then click next when it's ready. So there we go. To continue, click next. And then it'll create the second disc, and then we'll just repeat for the other 3. So I'll write down HPP2 Restore 1. I'll call it Restore 1 because this is the first disc of the recovery. So if I choose to restore this machine at some point in the future, that I'll at least have the recovery discs, at the ready. So that's the first disc. The second disc is going now, and we'll just wait for the other ones to finish. And we'll check on what's going on upstairs in just a bit. But first I'll show you some of the new additions here, other than that Pro Book. One of the newest additions is this other random Dell monitor that came from my mom's old workplace, which closed at the end of last August, plus some cords for it, including VGA, and also this Windows 8, 10, this old Windows, I think this is Windows 8 keyboard, and somewhere down here is, and somewhere here is supposed to be a mouse, and I don't think the mouse is right here. But then this box goes to my old microphone, which I still have upstairs. But then, of course, here's the rest of the set. The first ThinkPad that we used. Remember I put an SSD in there, and it's on 11 now, but of course I haven't turned it on in a little while, so it is out of date. The Inspiron 5520, which is also on 11, however, that one's also out of date. And so is this one. I don't even know if I'm going to be updating it again, because I don't even feel like taking apart the machine and putting the original hard drive back in, so unfortunately that one's going to be used as a parts machine now. But here is the 5755. This one will actually be the star of our next episode, where we get to put it through different older versions of Windows. So we're going to start off with Windows 7, and then we'll work our way to Windows 8, and then eventually we'll put an SSD in there, and we'll see how well it runs Windows 11. However, I would need to make an updated USB drive. But as of the time of recording, 24H2 has finally been offered to 2 of my 3 main systems. And the monthly security update for December of 2024, as of the time of recording, is going to be released next week, so I might end up updating my Windows 11 USB to that now that 24H2 has been fixed to some extent, but not completely. But yeah, here's the box to my new desktop, if anyone even cares. The one I have now. And then the box to my updated laptop. Here's just a specs if anyone cares. If it'll focus, 12 gigs of RAM, Windows 10 Home. And then up there is the box to my old desktop, I believe it is, but I can't show the specs. But then up here is the box to another new desktop. Yeah, you can't see the specs either. Yeah, 3850, 10th Gen i5, Windows 10 Home. I probably might have to turn on one of the other. Oh. Probably might have to turn on one of the lights so you can see. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, here's the full specs of it. If anyone cares to look. Oh wow, it looks like she asked for an i7. That's the kind of processor I got. She only got the 10th generation. However, my desktop and laptop are 11th and 13th generations respectively. But also just for fun, here's just some old railroad pieces. Some old road pieces I used to play with when I was a child. I still keep them here to this day. But fittedly enough, I believe this stoplight still works. Wow, it actually still works after all these years. That's the only one out of these 3, these 2 identical pieces, that actually still function to this day. I don't think we've ever put batteries back in these 2. I don't even think they'll even work, but we'll see. But yeah, here's an old basketball game from one of my friends' houses. And of course, I figured it wouldn't work anymore either. Yeah, I think the batteries have expired in there. So if I wanted to play with it again, I could just put new ones in there, but I guess I could just do a random shot with a quickly deflating pair of basketballs. Oh yeah, that's the story there. But of course, otherwise, nothing else has changed. So now we will just wait for these 2 discs to finish, and then that will be it. All right, and that is the last disc. So I'm going to take it out. Restore 4. So that's 4 discs. And I'm just going to put it in with the case. And that is the end of it. So then we'll click next. And it says Recovery Manager has successfully created media. You can only create recovery media once for your system. So ensure that you keep it in a safe place. So this is just like with the other HPs of the time. So you only get 1 chance to create recovery media for the system. Otherwise, that's it. So I guess with that said, that's really going to be the end of it here. So we'll go check on the Vostro back upstairs on the virtual machine. So we're back here on the virtual machine, and I've only restored the recovery disk, the recovery partition. So let's see what happens. And it looks like we get the same information as before. We just get restore computer and we just get the factory image. So yeah, just like what we saw on the Vostro, on the actual device itself. So unfortunately, we will not be able to do the restore like I was originally hoping, but so unfortunately we won't be able to do the recovery as I was hoping, but hey, at least we tried. So in the next episode, we're going to be returning to the Inspiron 5755, and we're going to put it against an older version of Windows. And we're going to see how well it performs on that compared to Windows 8 and the newer recent Windows 11. So until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.